My group and I have made 3 media products. We've made a teaser trailer, we've made a film poster and a magazine front cover. So in terms of the format conventions for my teaser trailer, my group and I decided to challenge the conventions of duration because as you can see, we have our duration as 1 minute 34, whereas The Gift is 1 minute 18, Prisoners is 1 minute long and Shut In is 1 minute 2. The reason why we've decided to challenge this is because we felt that we needed to get as much narrative across to our audience as much as we could. Hence why we've had to sacrifice the typical conventional duration for the film. And in terms of montage editing and continuity editing, my group and I decided we should use the real media conventions. So for The Gift, on the basis of that, we looked at it and we saw that they had a range of both continuity and montage editing. And this was also evident in Shut In and Prisoners. So we thought for ours, if we had continuity at the start where Casper's writing his love letter to Rose and he's had his narration going on in the background, this is continuity as he's expressing what he feels and what he's trying to say. For the montage bits, we have Rose and Casper outside and Casper stalking her, and also we have the back shots towards Casper's den where you can see pictures of Rose, etc. Now in terms of sound, we've used the conventions. We've got a range of diegetic sound and also non-diegetic sound. We've got the voices of our characters as part of diegetic, where you have Rose talking, you have Casper's commentary, and in terms of non-diegetic, we have the background music, which is fast-paced. So it's conventional for psychological thriller teaser trailers to have a very fast-paced background music, which gives a sense of eerie and suspensefulness, and this is because it's going to give effect to the audience. It's going to anticipate feeling that they need to watch the film, and it has to build up a climax to an extent where it's not going to reveal too much of the story, but it's effective and it's scary too. And this is the effectiveness of non-diegetic sound, and we've picked a background music which is quite upbeat and fast, and it sounds like someone's knocking. This represents Casper is trying to knock for Rose, trying to get her to look at him and show attention towards him. And in terms of our competitors, for example, the Gift, they have a very fast beat background music too. So we thought that we should decide to use something like this as well. So in terms of text and graphic, I've challenged and also used the conventions in terms of the real media products. The Gift, right at the top, as you can see, they have 4 titles throughout their entire teaser trailer. Below that is Prisoners, which uses various, and below that is Dear Rose, which is my teaser trailer, and we've only used 3. So in terms of using the conventions and following them through, you can see that for The Gift they have various ones. For example, the past will be your present, and then they conclude with their film title towards the end. For Prisoners, they also do this. They give text throughout the entire teaser trailer. For example, you can see that it says from the moment a child goes missing, and they have countdown stuff, and at the end they show their title of the film too. So for Dear Rose, my one, we have There's a Fine Line, and then we have some clips, and after that you have Between Love and Hate. And the reason why we've done that is because after this we say there's a fine line, we show Casper being very creepy and weird towards Rose, and then we show the title Between Love and Hate, and after that we make it exaggerated and extreme, that you see the stalker board and the music goes very fast. So you can see that text and graphic works with the sound because they both correspond towards each other, they work together. And we've also followed the conventions that we've done our title at the end where we have Dear Rose. But the reason why we've challenged this is that we thought that the simplicity of having fewer titles throughout our teaser trailer was more effective than having loads. For example, Prisoners has done. And we felt that the clips spoke more about themselves than the titles would be able to do for them. There's a fine line between love and hate is our tagline, which is evident on our poster as well. And this is something that we thought about a very long time ago, and it works very well in our teaser trailer. It's very simple, and it shows you the vast extreme which Casper goes. In terms of narrative given to the audience, I feel like we've developed that convention. So you can see on here that we've circled that it says it reveals too much of the story. This is a weakness that we've got criticised about after our rough cut screenings. So again, it says it reveals too much of the story. We've tried giving as much narrative as we could, but if people feel that it reveals too much, maybe that's something that we failed upon. And so hence why we've developed on the convention and possibly challenged that too. We haven't used it where we haven't given less amount of narrative. Perhaps we've given too much if people feel that. In terms of format conventions for my poster, as you can see on the top, we have our 3 competitors. These are the films which I've researched on my Mahara blog in the past: The Gift, Shut-In and Prisoners. So firstly, I'd like to say that I've used the conventions of Real Media posters as a fact that it's quite simple. So my competitors, The Gift, Shut-In and Prisoners, they have very simple posters, and mine is as well. So mine just has an arm and it has a rose as the main image. The Gift has the man holding the present. Shut-In has the woman, a close-up of her putting her finger over her mouth, indicating that there needs to be a sense of quietness. And Prisoners is just the main character. So I've also sort of developed upon the conventions in the sense that I have a USP on my film poster. You can see that the rose in my poster is the USP because that is the name of the character and it's a flower which the antagonist gives to the protagonist. And this is something which is evident in The Gift as well. They have a USP which is the present itself. In terms of challenging, I would say that there's not much to be challenged here, but except for the fact that we have our tagline on ours, which is very evident. It's big, it's bold, it says there's a fine line between love and hate. This is also a text which we've included in our teaser trailer. Like I said previously, it's included in our poster as well because it's the main tagline. We've also got a billing block, which is something which The Gift and Shut-In do not have, but Prisoners does. So in a way we have challenged it. In terms of the format conventions for my magazine front cover, I would say that my group and I have decided to use the conventions of Real Media products. As you can see, we've gained a huge amount of inspiration from Crimson Peak's magazine front cover, which is part of Total Film. So my group and I decided that this is a really good one to gain inspiration from because it follows a similar colour scheme, and also it has stuff on there which we think would be good if we incorporated on ours. Stuff we've sort of used from this as inspiration is the fact that you can see there's a smoky title on Crimson Peaks. There's a smoke effect in the background, which is something we've incorporated on our own one as well. They have very similar colour schemes. They have a more, I would say, light red. We have a burgundy. And you can see they have like a circle on there as well, indicating contents of the magazine. This is something we've also incorporated on ours. They have their masthead, they have cover lines, they have taglines, etc. Something we've done on ours too. So we thought that it's best to use the real conventions because we want to have a similar magazine front cover to our competitors, because this is something that's expected of Total Film. Their psychological thriller front covers have to all be sort of the same. It can't be looking like something that's from a comedy. It can't be looking like something that's from a romantic. It has to follow the conventions of the genre and has to look like it as well. Hence why we've decided that it's best to look at our competitors, for example Crimson Peak, their magazine front cover, and we should sort of gain inspiration from it and use the same sort of fonts, etc. So in terms of genre conventions, I've looked back at my previous genre research, and it's evident that there has to be a setting and a narrative. So in terms of settings, we have 3 main ones. We have Casper's Stalker Den, we have Rose's house, and we have outside settings, for example the tunnel. And in terms of the narrative, so it's conventional for psychological thrillers to show a sense of the narrative, what's going on. It has to show a background of the storyline. So we've done that by the narrating that Casper has done at the start, where he's talking about his obsession with Rose and how he's going to send a love letter to her. And we've done it by showing Rose's reactions to presents she receives from Casper. and we try to convey this whole narrative through the setting, so Casper Stalker Den, Rose's house, and outside settings. And also another genre convention is the characters. So we have our antagonist and we have our protagonist. The antagonist is Casper. As you can see on the left, that he's standing and his eyes are looking towards Rose, who he's stalking. He's wearing dark clothing. So as part of our shots, so this is about the montage scene, he's wearing different clothes as to what he'd be wearing when he's going to Rose's house. When he went to Rose's house and he's at the stairs, he's wearing a hoodie. Whereas here, as part of the montage, he's wearing a bomber jacket, etc. So for the protagonist, you can see Rose. Her facial expression just shows how innocent she is and how naive as well. That she's reading something that Casper has sent to her, and you can see just by the look of her face that she's innocent and that she is definitely the protagonist. Also, we've done iconography as well. We've used the conventions in the sense, but we've also challenged upon them. In terms of challenging, we haven't actually used a knife, whereas a lot of psychological thrillers do. We thought that there's no point using a knife if someone like Casper is stalking the protagonist. He's not trying to cause her any harm, he's just overly weird and obsessed with her. But the iconography in terms of here, that we have the stalker board, we have the Remember Me class picture, and you have Casper's outfits. But yeah, in terms of institutional conventions, I would say that my group and I have definitely sort of developed upon and challenged the convention that normally, for example, The Gift is a Hollywood blockbuster along with Prisoners. Shut In is a low budget film, however ours is a British independent. You don't really see many psychological thrillers which are British independent, and we thought that we're going to be unique and be the first, and perhaps this is something the audience is looking for and that they will watch our film because we're a locally sourced British independent film.